neighbor, thanks for checking out another episode of 17 on Sunday. That's right, we're doing an expanded list this week so I can talk about 17 of the most iconic debut singles ever made. A single is a song meant to promote an album, EP, or compilation in order to attract more attention back to the artist. I wouldn't say it's uncommon, but it's definitely not an everyday occurrence to have your debut single turn out as this legendary song, which is why I'm gonna pull from a wide range of decades and genres. Your first single as an artist might not seem super important, but if you've got a record label pushing your music and a young act hungry to take over the world, the stakes are sky high. Do me a favor, hit the like button, follow the Spotify playlist in the description so you can listen along, and comment with anything you think I missed, and I will add to that playlist over time.
Some of those that work forces draw the same that burn crosses.
Not only is Killing in the Name their debut single, it's Rage Against the Machine's signature song, hammered home with eye-opening lyrics about police brutality and protest, all while simultaneously curb-stomping white supremacy in a fit of anger. They perform this excellent rap metal crossover with more conviction than a corrupt justice system, filled to the brim with commanding vocals, slamming riffs, and a spicy Tom Morello solo. It's truly insane how hard this song still goes, and sadly, how accurate its message remains.
Hey Joe, I heard you shot your lady down, you shot her down.
Hey Joe is what we call a rock standard, meaning at one point it was in the public domain as hundreds of other people have covered the song, but none could ever top the seismic shift given to it by the Jimi Hendrix Experience, as the man himself chose it to be their first official single. The lyrics are pretty dark and gritty, focusing on a jealous man desperate to track and kill his cheating wife, but many people have theorized that Hendrix chose this song since the lyrics could metaphorically refer to his tumultuous time serving in the army. Hey Joe is played and sung with a bluesy affectation that could charm a parade of snakes right off the side of a mountain. If not snakes, then maybe a sea of 80,000 plus people, given that Hendrix closed out the original Woodstock with none other than the smoking gun of a cover.
You just keep on getting closer.
English indie electronic group The XX began glowing like a distant diamond as they crystallized a debut single that embraced the kind of minimalism we'd see replicated but never bested over the course of the next decade in music. With subtle but intriguing lyrics and vocals by Romy Croft and Oliver Sim backed by the hypnotic production of Jamie XX, this trio established themselves as trendsetters on a quest for a very clean, satisfying sound, topped with a beautiful dosage of sparkling bass meets danceable guitar.
If you want to destroy my sweater, hold this thread.
Don't you dare pull that thread. Despite everything Weezer has put us through in their shaky career, the highs, the lows, the ratitude, don't ever forget how killer both the 1994 Blue album and its first single Undone the Sweater song will always be. Dreary guitar-led introductions and background chatter lead to an unforgettable build-up. Frontman Rivers Cuomo slowly works in his dorky but lovable personality, but it's the entire band joining him that shatters the drop into the chorus for a song that makes singing along to unraveling sweaters and nudity a total romp in the park. Post-punk revival was blooming by the time Interpol joined the party in the early aughts, but the unveiling of their debut single PDA was still a noticeable milestone marker and a wave of fresh bands sporting this style. PDA, or Public Display of Affection, existed well before its official single push, and while it didn't chart in the way that their follow-up singles did, it absolutely generated a massive buzz about their classic debut album, Turn on the Bright Lights. Enigmatic writing puzzles you just enough to raise an eyebrow while vibing to some incredibly infectious instrumental work, and once the song hits that choppy cooldown section, the sensation of a weight lifting from your shoulders consumes from the inside out. Nostalgia is one hell of a beast, so perhaps it's best left to acid trips and the childlike wonder we spend our whole lives running from, only to discover that growing up is a trap! MGMT's debut single Time to Pretend cranks the psychedelic synthpop scuzz to 11. The synthesizer sounds on this track and its parent album Oracular Spectacular hold up in a way that lets you know, yes, this is a product of the late 2000s, but in a way that makes you feel alive again, like reconnecting with an old friend.
So please
love me do.
A little band from Liverpool had just swapped drummers in 1962, recording a version of Love Me Do with Pete Best before nailing it on take 2 with Ringo Starr. The British invasion had yet to begin when this was released as the unforgettable debut Beatles single, but it did spark interest around the globe as the water started going from a light simmer to a full-on boiling hot. Trent Reznor landed a record deal under the moniker 9 Inch Nails in the late 80s, selecting Down in It as his debut single for the project that went on to become a defining element of his early hip-hop adjacent industrial dance sound. While it may not feel like it sonically, this is a coming-of-age moment for Reznor. Bonus fact, the tiny little dot Reznor mentions on Down in It comes back on the band's 2005 song Only, with him referencing a tiny little dot catching his eye, which I thought was a pretty cool little connection. Kate was so inspired by the novel and BBC miniseries Wuthering Heights, she named her debut single exactly that and wrote it all the way to #1, dethroning the legendary ABBA, which in 1978 in the UK was no easy task. Whimsical pianos clue us into the journey at hand, as the singer-songwriter weaves pieces of the book's characters with a fitting sense of elegant magic. Think of Wuthering Heights as a gothic pop meets baroque art rock piece. It's a seminal release, and it proved that whatever she was selling, people were buying, and they still are in the 2020s, thanks to the resurgence in Stranger Things. Take On Me is the definition of timeless. a-ha strutted out of the delivery room with a twinkle in their eye after giving birth to one of the most harmonious pieces of music that I have ever laid ears on. Falsettos can become grating if it's in the hands of the wrong performer, but singer Martin Arquette calmly lands the rocket ship with his tender plea to be given a chance by this random romantic encounter. Tangible synths light up the mind's eye like fireworks, beaming smiles straight to your heart in a way that I can only describe as purely irresistible. Talk about dressing for the occasion, hot damn! Knocking it out of the park with a trifecta of success on single #1 just doesn't happen, especially if you're a young scrappy English band with an extremely raw garage punk sound. The Sheffield Rockers caught fire as their long-winded I betcha look good on the dance floor punches with a raucous motif, complete with the always incredible Matt Helders drumming his ass off while also nailing those backing vocals in tandem with Alex Turner. Wait, is this my chance to flex my DM from Lil Nas X? Because it feels like the right time to flex my DM from Lil Nas X. Maybe Old Town Road just ain't your thing, but that doesn't negate how massive Lil Nas X got from an ironic country rap song about the life of a cowboy. He took a no-budget meme and conquered SoundCloud, YouTube, and honestly, pretty quickly, every music chart known to man. Billy Ray Cyrus joined Lil Nas X on the definitive remix most people recognize, hopping on the achy-breaky saddle as they rode into the sunset and claimed the title of longest-running Billboard Hot 100 chart topper of all time at 19 weeks. When I started looking for candidates to fit this video topic, I swear to God I had completely forgotten Dream On is not only a Titanic-sized ballad for the ages, but it was also the debut single by AEROSMITH? What? Obviously Steven Tyler and company have more hits than Ichiro Suzuki. Just kidding, that would be impossible. But still, I guarantee your local bar has a jukebox with plenty of them in steady rotation. I've never been a huge AEROSMITH guy, but Dream On has always spoken to me. They really tapped into this brooding, arena-ready sound, which proves they were already dreaming bigger than their collective body, and it really paid off to the tune of winning over millions of adoring lifelong fans. Here's the blueprint. Jealousy's driving me crazy, bang out a riff, write one simple verse, and simply repeat the second time around, and voila, out comes one of the greatest songs to ever exist on planet Earth. Releasing September 29th, 2003, this eager-eyed killer's cut flew to the sun without scorching its wings. Dave Koenig's mesmerizing guitar fascinates me to this day. In fact, it's one of the many qualifying factors. Just the sheer level of emotion that you feel seething out of every single line. It's an experience unlike anything else you'll ever find. Fast-paced, punk to the bone, and full of so easy a caveman could do it chants, Ramones unleashed their first ever single Blitzkrieg Bop to the world in 1976. This was sort of the prototype for pop punk that wouldn't be fully unlocked until the 90s, with the catchy as hell anthem running at a very high BPM of around 175, which is why it can definitely feel like an adrenaline rush. Blitzkrieg was a military term that translates to lightning war, and I'll be damned if Tommy and Dee Dee Ramone didn't hit it dead on. Ian Curtis was the legendary frontman of the post-punk band Joy Division before tragically dying by suicide at the age of only 23 in 1980. The remaining members took some time out to decide what to do, before ultimately launching a fresh chapter under the name New Order in 1981. Ceremony released as their debut single in 1981, and it's a monumental bridge between eras. Lead Joy Division guitarist Bernard Sumner became the vocalist in New Order, but with this first single release, he gave an emotional feeling of life to what would be the final glance into Ian Curtis's troubled mind as he wrote the song. Horrible ending to an immensely talented man, but a beautiful, cathartic song rose from the ashes, with vocals tucked just beneath the surface, as pounding drums mesh with tangible bass and ethereal guitar gazes to create an atmosphere that truly feels like a homecoming in the afterlife.
Remember when we were driving in your car, speed so fast it felt like I was drunk.
Freedom is a high we chase from the moment that we taste it for the very first time. It's like a drug getting slipped under your tongue and you want more, and Tracy Chapman maps it out in this hopeful but grounded manner that can be really heartbreaking when you listen to the full scope of her story. Fast Car isn't about throwing away responsibility because you're young, it's about stepping up to the plate because you know how much work it's gonna take to actually battle through the fog and make your lofty ambitions a reality. You might find a few tears falling during this song because Tracy has a way of making that happen. Life is unpredictable, and on Fast Car, it's just rare to see such a level-headed, optimistic, but realistic take in this already lush classic. Thank you guys so much for watching another episode of 7 on Sunday. If you enjoyed this, then please hit that like button, subscribe if you're new in town, and if you want to see more of SOS, the full playlist is on screen here, or you can tap here for another recent related episode. All of my socials can be found in the description. I'm most active on Instagram, give me a follow over there, and I'll be back soon for more on ARTV.